Um, all right, we are ready. Welcome everybody to our Friday, the 20th of December, 6 p.m. performance seminar. We have two pianists here with us. I would like to welcome Miss Isabel to open for us. So Isabel, when you're ready, go ahead and introduce yourself and your piece for the evening.
I'm Isabel. I'm going to be playing Sonatina Vivace.
Well done, Miss Isabel. Very different from that jazzy piece that you played last time, eh?
Yeah.
Very different feel. All right, cool. So, is this your first time running this in performance seminar?
Yeah, I'm doing it memorized still. So,
And memorized. Wow, congratulations. That's really great. So, what are your thoughts now that you've run it?
uh, I'm glad I was able to memorize it because, I just started memorizing not too long ago. So,
Great. Yeah. What do you feel is the difference in terms of your playing? You compare playing with the music and playing without music.
I feel like it's more like lively and fast. So it's like kind of have to get those like staccatos and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. What are your thoughts, Atticus, on playing by memory? What's your experience of how it feels compared to playing with music?
Well, if it's not fully memorized, it feels harder. But if you have it memorized, then and you don't play with the music, you end up, for me at least, I end up focusing on the music more and how it sounds rather than reading the sheet music.
That's true. What do you think about that, Isabel? Do you agree with Atticus?
Yeah.
Can you relate to that? Yeah, I agree with both of you. Memory definitely frees us up to be more connected with the sound and with the movement rather than just having to follow a script. Um, what are some of the things that you were happy with in that performance, Isabel, that were a success for you
Uh,
musically?
like the articulation
Yeah, for
and
sure.
dynamics.
Yeah, I think the articulation dynamics are really clear. One thing that I'd suggest that you can do is when you have the now you can start thinking about the character. It's not just a sound like yeah da da dun dun, but actually creating a story with it. Yeah, bum, ba, da, dun, dun, as if like you've got a secret that you want to share, right? And then you can and then when you have the yeah da 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 da, this is where you unload the secret or you share what's in your mind. Yeah, so you can be a lot more what's it called, animated with it. Cool. Hey Migna, welcome. Thanks for joining us 6 p.m. Right. Atticus, did you? What are your thoughts for Isabel in terms of musicality? Some things that you feel that she's doing really well, and maybe some things she can consider.
The difference between your piano and your forte was really clear. One thing that I did notice though was that your pianissimo was louder than your piano.
That's interesting. Did you know that, Isabel?
Uh, I think it was like I kind of
Yeah.
agree.
It could also be a memory thing at this point. So maybe just, you're so involved with the music. So this is what I'm saying with character. Instead of being just thinking quiet, you could think like it's a surprise. Yeah, da, dun, dun, da, 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 da. And that gives the music a little bit more animation. Yeah. So just keep that in mind. I thought that you were really open with your forte sounds. It was really clear when I heard all your 16 sounds. Yeah, da, 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 da. If anything, just make sure that you retain the energy throughout. Sometimes you go strong in the first half, and then in the second half of these phrases, you die down a little bit. Just a little bit, but still, just bear in mind how much energy do you want to put with all these runs. Are you going to go all the way to the end, that last note, or do you go, yeah, no, 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 and then die away in the middle? Right? So just listen back to the recording and think about how you shape a phrase and whether you're playing all the way to the end of the phrase or whether you just do it a little quieter toward the end. It's an artist's choice. That's what you need to figure out, right? But in saying that as well, if it looks like that this should go all the way through to the end, right, to the C, you got to do so. So listen back to the recording again and see if you can figure out how long your phrases are and what you need to do with them, okay? Good, excellent. Come back again soon, next year. All right, let us continue. Let's have Mr. Atticus. Let's pull this up. Oh, the stage is yours.
I'm Atticus, and I'm playing the first movement of Mozart's Sonata in F major.
Bravo, Mr. Atticus. How was that performance for you?
Could have been a little
Catching
bit
your
better.
breath?
Uh,
Was that the tempo that you were intending to play that?
yeah.
Okay, cool. So talk us through. Talk us through this performance. How did you come up with that interpretation? Because it's got a lot of energy, it's got a lot of life. It's also quite quick.
I just
So where did that?
played it a bunch of different ways until I found things that I liked.
Yeah, yeah. Can you expand on that? So
I
let's talk
tried.
about maybe this section here, or this turbulent section.
Um, I don't know.
So one of the things that I want you to continue exploring is there's energy, but there's also from a listener's perspective, you want to find a place where we can also breathe with the music, right? Because you've got a yan daga 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 dan daga 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 dan, and you continue the energy from here to here. It's done daga da daga da daga da 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 daga 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 da daga 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 da daga da daga da daga da, and because it's so relentless, it doesn't actually really build to be, ironically, although it's energetic, it doesn't actually build to be as energetic as you would want it to be, because you're not giving space for the music to breathe. Meaning, when you start these things here, dun, daga dun, bring it down just a wee bit, dun, and then climb, dun, 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 and then these here, daga 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 dun, right? So you want to create this kind of like ramp when you play these. Otherwise, once again, everything is so high energy the whole time that it becomes predictable and it all becomes the same, right? So you want to be energetic, but you also want to inject areas where you can just breathe a little between the phrases, right? Same thing with all of these here. Dun, digga, 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 dun, right? First and foremost, he's a lyricist. Like he's so melodic with his writing. So anytime that you have these sections here, just think about, how do I want to shape these? It's just one gesture. And then there's a question. These are actually all questions because they never quite resolve, do they? It's still looking for the tonic until we finally get to end here in the dominant. So bear that in mind as well, that sometimes the music has a question that it's trying to ask. If it is a statement, then play it as a statement. So just bear that in mind. Your opening, this is beautiful. You get a really beautiful tone here. And I think what I especially appreciate about your playing is that you've got a lot of attention to the detail, especially the articulation, right? And that really brings more authenticity to the music. That's really good. The way that you treat these, like they dance. These here are really clear. If anything, when you have some of these 16th note passages, you can use just a little bit more of the wrist so that it swings. The other thing that the wrist does is it moves it to the next beat. These slurs, you can do a little bit more of the dropping of the hand and then rolling, because they're like little gestures. We've covered all this part over here. When you have these forte sections, just make sure that we're not descending too quickly into the keys, because then the sound it distorts just a bit, right? So keep the hand within the keys, but don't try and go too quickly. Otherwise, it buzzes, right? So just bear that in mind. Where else? This melodic section was great. All of this was fine. I think the two main things that I want you to consider is when you play and you have a lot of energy in your playing, where do you want to breathe? Is there a place for to reset, right? And number two, just think about your dynamic range when you play loud. Can you create a bigger sound without coming down too quickly on the keys? So it just rounds out the sound a little bit more. It doesn't sound too edgy. Do you feel that there are times in your playing, especially for Mozart, where the sound is a little bit too sharp? Do you hear it or not?
I feel like there are.
Yeah, yeah. I
In
mean, listen back to the recording. But I think more importantly, just listen to you really listen to your own playing as you play at home, because you can hear better than we can.
yeah.
Just so that the sound isn't too it doesn't spike. Yeah. Isabel, some thoughts. What did you think? What are some things that you enjoyed about Atticus's performance?
I like the dynamic changes. I think there was like one part where it switched from like forte to piano. I don't know, like,
Yeah,
and he made
he,
that really clear.
he's quite clear. He's clear of the dynamics, right? And it's not easy to do. What are your suggestions, Atticus, for Isabel and Megna if they're looking to really improve their dynamic range and being able to switch quickly? What are some things that work for you?
I think the main thing is just have more control when you're playing, so relax your wrists more. Just like in general, that helps with control. And then when I'm playing softer, I find myself using my elbows and wrists a lot more than I do when I'm playing louder. So like in this section, my left hand, my elbow's going out like this as I roll those things.
Yeah, and we'll find that actually that also helps control the sound. It's like what's it called? Springs on a trampoline or the suspension on a car. It actually absorbs the sound, as opposed to imagine jumping on a trampoline, Isabel, and there are no springs. Trampoline just goes "Toosh," and your joints are going to crush, right? Or you're in a car and you go over a speed bump, you just go "Toosh," right? So you're right. That's a great use of the elbow there. Thanks for that example, Atticus. Migna, do you have some thoughts? What did you think of the performance? Some things that stood out for you that Atticus does well?
I think his dynamics is great and his energy is great.
It is. I would agree. Nice. Do you two, Migna and Isabel, understand what I was talking to Atticus about playing with energy but finding places to breathe? Does that
Kind
make
of.
sense?
It kind of made too.
Right? Atticus, can you summarize what I was trying to say? Or what's your take on what I'm trying to get you to understand?
That the audience needs space to digest the music, and that if you just give all of it to them in one go, they're not gonna it's just a lot of information to take in.
Yeah, that's it. So, or maybe think of this as about Magna. Imagine watching an action scene in a movie. It's just a whole lot of explosions, and it just keeps going. After a while, we know what's going to happen, and it gets a bit too much. So we need time to just digest what's happening, which is why I suggested to him he can have the energy, but just little parts like this. When you have a long note, when you're going to start again, take it down, bring the volume down just a wee bit, and then take us up on a ride, so that there's different levels to the excitement.
It's kind of like
So just bear that in mind. Yeah. Go ahead.
Like speaking, where if I just constantly talk and I keep talking and it's really fast and I don't pause and I go on like that for a while, you're not gonna remember anything that I said. But if I pause and I time them correctly, you have time to process the information that I say. So it's pretty similar with this.
That's bang on. That's a great example. And then because of the pausing or the different dynamics, it allows us to highlight different parts of the speech, right? Whether it's a question or a statement. So thanks for that, Atticus. Yeah, so it's the same thing, guys. Isabel and Migna, same thing when we play. That's why our teachers are onto us about articulation and dynamics and tempo, because all these ingredients can be used to help better tell the story or communicate the message or the character, right, of the piece. Awesome. Thanks for bringing that to us, Atticus. All the best of your journey as you learn more. enjoy watching that recording. Okay, Megna, thanks again for coming on in. Do you want to tell everybody what you're going to perform?
My name is Magna, and I'm gonna perform Lunar Eclipse.
Awesome. Megna, are you on, what's the word? Sorry. Original sound?
I was.
Yeah? Bravo, Megna. Some beautiful playing there. How was that performance for you?
It was fine.
Yeah? Everything that you did there, did it reflect how you've been practicing?
Yeah.
Or were there things that happened that you're like, wow, I've never done that before?
No.
Good. Well, congrats, because that's our aim, right? Our aim in a performance is to reflect what we've been practicing. Very nice. All right, well, let's go around the room. Isabel, would you like to offer some thoughts to Megna? What did you appreciate? Some things that she can work on? Share some ideas.
How she like in the like
Here in the beginning.
like at the first note was like I had more I don't know explain it, like emphasis,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd like to
Yeah.
slow at the end.
You like this? Okay, cool. So you're saying that you really liked how the first note of each of these groups was emphasized?
Yeah.
And you like the self-dynamic? Yeah. I think she did that well as well. Cool. Anything else?
Not really.
Nice. All right. How about you, Atticus? What are your thoughts?
I like that you were highlighting the first note in your left hand for each one because that's the main melody. I think you
Mm.
soften your upper voice even more if when you play that you rotate your wrist a little bit, so it'll help soften that. The other
Yeah.
thing I noticed is at the bottom of the first page, you brought out that this chord here quite a bit, and I think you should consider softening it because so when you go up here, that's like the main melodic line, and when you get to here, that's that's the general picture, but then you add just a little bit more detail afterwards. But that's not the primary thing there. It's the G, but it adds a little bit more clarity to it.
I like that. Thanks, Atticus. Megna, do you understand what he's trying to say?
Yeah.
13, 14? Yeah. What do you think of that idea of bringing this out more and then making this a little quieter?
I think it would sound better.
Right? Yeah. So it just gives us, once again, that's why we put in the dynamics, because we're highlighting a certain part of the music that you want the audience to hear. Yeah. How we play represents what we feel about the music and what we want people to hear. Because you want people to hear what you hear, right? That's why we do it. It's kind of like a great chef. Chef wants us, they cook in a way that they want the people that are eating it to experience what they experience, the flavors and whatnot. So same thing that we do. So we're just cooking up all these notes. So one thing that you want to bear in mind is when you play the mezzo forte, this part here, actually play it, slow it down. Yeah, dun 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 dun, and keep a very solid rhythm. Yeah. I agree with Isabel and Atticus though. I really love the way that you brought out these melodic notes in the bass. That gave us something to really lock into. You can definitely bring out these a little bit more. Da 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 da. And use what Atticus talked about. Just rotate your wrist over it just a wee bit more. When you have these notes here, allow your hand to ring the note like a bell. So instead of just pushing it on the key, can you wipe it? So swipe it. Practice that there. Keep the pedal down and you swipe. And then it creates a more resonant sound. Kind of like if this was a bell, right? And then you hit it like this, but you bounce off it. Same thing with the piano. So don't just touch the bell like this and hold the hand there, but off the bell, right? Give that a little go. It gives something else to the performance. All of this here, just double check this here is a G. I think you played an A flat here. Da 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 G, C, right? Just a little thing, but I think in general, this is sounding pretty good. But try some of those ideas out, yeah? For next time and just enjoy listening to the recording. Because I always say this to everybody, the recording and your own ears will be your best teacher. Yeah. Superb. Oh my goodness, 3 minutes over time. Thank you so much for you all performing. If I don't see you guys again, have a great Christmas. And we'll see you again next year, okay? Take care, Isabel. Thank you, Atticus. Thanks, Megna.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Megna. You too.